This is going to be episode 7 of Fiber Me This, and you can find me on Instagram as MyBlueBike101, the same on Ravelry, and my Etsy store is Fiber Me This. And so currently in my store I have stitch markers. I think I have one project bag, but I'm hoping to have some yarn in there. I have been dyeing and selling yarn at our local knit store, then that's been going really well, and I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. But I've just ordered a much larger batch of yarn, and so I'm hoping to have some overflow that I can put in the Etsy store. So, but let me start with just a tiny bit of knitting. I have a finished object, and that is my Seawall Storm shawl. And I'm filming today in my sewing room, which we just redid and put together with just inexpensive stuff from IKEA, but I will do a video on that at some point. So this is a light and airy shawl, and it has all of these eyelet short rows in it, which I do feel like a bit of an expert on short rows after making this shawl, because there are so many short rows in it. I made this with Liberty Ridge Bear yarn that I dyed in grays and browns. I've talked about this before, so I'm not going to go into it too much. But the one thing I do want to say is this is a crescent shawl. Let me just throw it on here. It has, it's an MCN base, so it has some cashmere in it, and it has the most wonderful drape to it, and the yarn is very light and airy. I absolutely love it. I wanted to make sure, I've already worn it quite a few times, so I wanted to make sure I did a video with it before it gets some real wear to it. And the other shawl that I am continuing to work on and moving along on is my Cameo Shawl. And so I'll just show you my progress on that, because I do believe I've made a bit of progress since last time. I was working on the speckled section, which is all garter, and then moved into the stripe section. So I added that gold and did the stripe section. And right now I'm doing the gold eyelet section. And so that will be the last section. Let me see if I can back up and show you guys. There it is. So I will be excited to have that done fairly shortly. The rest of the projects I've been working on, I think I have probably 5 or 6 other whips going, but I've mainly been working on the shawls, so I haven't done a lot with those. I just started this headband for Miss Anya, and it is, I'll try and start linking below, or not linking, but just putting on the video screen all of the information. This is a spiral headband, so it's a 3x3 rib, but the rib spirals around. And this is a colorway that Anya selected the colors for. It is a worsted base. And so I have been dyeing yarn for our local yarn shop, and I've been trying out a lot of different bases from a lot of different companies and different mills. So I have the ones that I'm not, selling. I have quite a bit of samples to use of. So this one was for Anya, and I took this to Knit Group last night, and they really like the colorway, so I will probably be dyeing this up. So I wanted to insert this quick clip to show you guys the finished headband for a couple of reasons. One, I absolutely love this pattern. It is a super quick knit, one day, a couple hours or not even. And the other thing I want to talk about is cast on and bind off. I have been searching for a cast on and bind off that not only maybe look somewhat similar, but also have a similar amount of stretch in them. And I'm very happy with what I have found here. So this is a German twisted cast on, which I have used before, and I do really like. And I have paired that with what is called a sewn bind off, where you take a tapestry needle when you're done, and you can pull up a YouTube video on it. That's what I did after I had heard about it. But you take the tapestry needle purlwise through 2 stitches, and then knitwise and take one off, and then purlwise through 2 stitches, keep it on, and then knitwise take one off. And it gives you a ton of control over the tension. So you can do it tight, you can do it kind of medium, you can do it really loosely. And so after doing a few stitches and a little bit of practice, you can get the tension of your bind off to be very similar to that of your cast on. So I definitely wanted to share that with you guys. And then lastly, as I've been dyeing, I haven't found it too hard to come up with names for colorways. Either myself or a family member or a friend quickly comes up with something that I like. But for this colorway, we just weren't in agreement on anything, and I didn't find anything that I truly liked. And then this morning, and I keep saying it reminds me of like a punk girl, or, you know, it's got like an asphalt color and these different shades of pink and cranberry. So this is going to be called Skater Girl. And it's so funny when you come up with a name or something you're searching for, even if it's a pattern or whatever, like, you know when you find it. And this morning I woke up and I said, you know what, this is Skater Girl. So I will be dyeing some of this for our local shop and possibly my Etsy store. So, okay, back to the regular video now. So let me get into talking about the dyeing really quick. We have a local yarn store in Saratoga Springs, New York, which is a very historic town and a very touristy town in the summer. So I decided, I've been dyeing for about a year, you know, and started with, you know, the Kool-Aid dyeing and the food color dyeing. Can't talk. And so now I've gotten into dyeing with the acid dyes. And I've done tons of research, but there is definitely a learning curve. And I think everybody probably finds their own best way of doing it. But I did dye a line of yarn for the knit store, and most of them were themed to the city and some of the historic things that are in the city. So at the end of the video, I am going to do a voiceover of pictures of those yarns. I was at the store last night, and in the past 2 weeks, they've sold just about all of them. So I ordered a much larger quantity of wool yarns in different weights and different makeups of the yarn. And so I'm going to be doing more dyeing for them. I'm hoping to have some overflow to put in my Etsy store at some point, but I'm taking it very slowly, so we'll see. So let me share just a couple. I don't have many of the yarns that are actually in the shop, but I have a couple to share with you. One of the yarns that's in the shop is called Carousel, because in Saratoga Springs there is a huge vintage carousel in one of the parks downtown. And so this is the colorway for the carousel. So it has all the different colors of the carousel in it. This is on a BFL base, which again was just a sample base, and it did dye up differently on the BFL than it did on the merino. And so that's one of the neat things as you're getting into dyeing, is to see how the dyes react with different types of wool and different types of fibers. But this has a lot of gold in it, because there's a lot of gold in the carousel, but I don't know that that's necessarily coming up. And then it just has all different types of colors in it. So that one was a hit. Those were the first ones to sell, so I'll definitely be making some more of those. I had done another colorway called Broadway baskets, and so downtown there's all these beautiful flower baskets, and there's purples and pinks and, you know, the greens from the leaves. So I did a colorway with that. So it seems like people really like the colorful colorways. But I'm trying to do tonals and different things as well. So these are 2 new ones that are going in the shop that don't necessarily have to do with Saratoga. So, you know, if I dye ones that don't have to do with the city, I just put them under a regular label. The other ones are under a Saratoga collection. But this is a sparkle and an MCN, and this is Jack and Jill. There's a better picture of it. And so it has crossover colors. The maroonish color is in both. And then we have a tonal gray, and then pinks and like champagne color in the sparkle one. So that's going to be a new one I'm dyeing up. These are for me. I just picked out a shawl the other day that I'm going to make with these. And this was another sample skein I was dyeing up. And this has 3 different colors in it. A variegated 2-ply twist. A little bit plumper fingering. Again, this is one that I'm kind of sticking with one specific line of yarns for the shop right now. And I really, in particular, like everything from that company. So all of these other ones I'm kind of either just giving away or using myself. So that's all I have, I think, to share with you guys right now. Like I said, I'm going to voice over some pictures of the Saratoga Springs collection, and I will be hopefully coming back to you soon with episode 8 and hopefully a little bit longer and a little bit more information. But you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. So this first one is Carousel, and this is one of the ones I was talking about earlier. And then we have Spit and Spat, which represent a water fountain that's in one of the local parks. And Broadway baskets, I had spoke about that one as well, the brightly colored baskets downtown. This one's Gray Stallion. We have a local historic racetrack, and it gets very hot there. So this one is Hot Summer Sun. And Back in the Rain is a local venue that has all types of concerts, and it gets muddy when it rains, and the ballet performs there. So this one's at the ballet. And then these were a couple that I did outside of the Saratoga collection. And then this video here is of my second batch. We have Jack and Jill, and those 2 I had talked about within the video. So there's I had dyed a little bit more of those. It's gray with a maroon and then mauve. And then the deep is a quadruple immersion dye. This was on a DK cashmere base. I absolutely love that one. And then here's some more Carousel and some more Broadway baskets. I just intensified the color a tiny bit for the second round of these. So those are all headed off to the shop this week, and I'm getting actually ready to dye more today. So you guys enjoy your summer, and I will be talking to you soon.